Creating and using charts in Excel. When creating a chart, consider what data you want to appear in the chart itself. Do you want all of the data, or do you want a portion of the data? We're going to start with a portion of the data. A3 down to E7 contains headings and numbered data. Both are going to be part of our graph. When I go to the Insert tab on the ribbon, Charts group, I'm going to focus in on the column command to start off with. 2D clustered column. When I click on it, you'll see an embedded chart appears, offering up the headings and the numbered data. The legend here is color coordinated and coded according to all of the colors here for our bars. I can change under my Chart Tools contextual tab called Design, my styles if I like, which will change the color in this case. And as I maneuver over here on the scroll bar, I can go to More Choices by clicking on this down arrow with the bar above it, maybe get into a more 3D look. And now I've got a new style applied to my chart. Suppose I want to edit a portion of this chart, or I want to format. When I go to Format, I can work with whatever's selected right now, which is way off over here in the Current Selection group, Chart Area. I'm going to simply undo so we can get back to one of the styles that we were working with before. So I did a quick Control Z so it's not so dark on the screen. When I click on this command here for chart elements, I can choose, let's say, Legend. And once I select Legend, then I can work with shape styles if I like to fill in this shape with a different color, an outline, or a different kind of effect. So working with Current Selection group and the chart elements, you'll find it's easy to look at this list to determine which selection you want to work with to, let's say, format. The chart layouts choice here offers up a different look of your layout of your chart. So you can see how the legend is moving around, or sometimes we've got some plotting points listed there as well. I'm going to return back to the first one here, Layout 1, where it gives you the classic look for your legend on the right side and then your chart with your X and Y axis accordingly here with your numbers. I'm going to switch the row and the column, and you'll see how the legend responds accordingly. So my X and Y is getting switched around here. Suppose I do not want to plot all of the data that I see here in this chart. I can go to Select Data, and working with my series on the left side, I can add, edit, or remove the data on this portion. Notice on the right side, I'm limited to just editing. So you might find you'll need to click on Switch Row or Column to get to that one portion of data that you want to remove, for example. I'm going to remove fresh produce. And when I do that, you certainly could see how my chart has responded, and no longer do I have fresh produce. Suppose I want to add it though now. When I click on Add, the dialog box for Edit Series is asking me for two parts for this series, the name and the value. Now, I'm not going to type in the actual name Fresh Produce here. I'm going to click where we see the name called Fresh Produce. And when I click here, the name comes up responding to where it's located in A5, right here on the right side. So once I click in the next box, you can see Fresh Produce comes up. The series values, I'm just going to highlight and delete here so we can start from scratch, is the B5 to E5 range. And as soon as I select that, you can see how it's coming up with those numbers according to B5 to E5. And my chart is coming to life too. It's showing me that already in my chart. I'll click OK, and then I'll follow through with OK again, and you'll see how it's responding here in my chart. You noted that when we created this chart, it defaulted to an embedded chart. A lot of times folks like to have a chart on its own separate spreadsheet. We're going to need to move this chart. Back up on the Chart Tools Design tab. In the Location group this time, we find Move Chart. Inside of the same file as a new sheet, we can create a whole new sheet tab, and when we do, how about we give it a good sheet name? New Chart, how about that? When I click OK, we've got a new sheet tab called New Chart, and it houses the chart that was moved from Detail, which no longer exists, to New Chart. From here we can go further and format according to what's selected. We can work with the design, choose different styles, change the chart type over here in the type group, and maybe make it a pie, click OK, and so on. But let's focus in on the Layout tab as our last task. The Layout tab offers up groups like Labels, Access, and Background. I'm going to change our chart type back to the classic column type called Clustered. Layout. Here your column chart type offers up labels such as chart title, axis title, legends, and so on. The legend can be manipulated to show at top or at left, and so on. The chart title by default displays none, but we can have above chart, a chart title, and type in what you want here. And axis title by default is none, so we can see now we have an axis title down here, and remember we've got two, so we can have a vertical and we can have a horizontal one. I'm just going to undo so we don't have those titles there. Grid lines, we can choose to have major grid lines, or we can choose to have minor grid lines. And for your vertical, you can have that done as well.